All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully everyone can hear through audio. Sorry, put a little note just saying that the audio is coming through the computer. You should see my screen as well coming through, showing the training site and conservation desktop. Quick little introduction for myself. My name's Ori Winger. Obviously, hopefully everybody knows me or has seen a picture of me or hopefully heard good things about me. Thanks for joining this morning. We are recording this, so hopefully those that aren't on can be able to attend and watch it at a later time. But basically today what I want to cover is just the basic information and stuff that has changed with 2.3. The reason I'm doing this is because our 2.2 version has updated in the training site to the 2.3. There's a few new things, and I figured with people and with the way things are with ProTrax currently, there might be some ability for people to go in and play around in Conservation Desktop. So if you would like, go ahead and access that training site whenever you would like and play around, try and break things or try and do things that you thought you couldn't do, whatever you want to do. You can use that 2.2 manual that's up on the SharePoint on the planning portal, or not planning portal, it's in the training library on tech services. If you need help getting there, just let me know. You'll be able to see a lot of things. There's been a few things obviously updated. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump in. My cursor is now on the map. And the first thing that I'm sure everyone notices is that now we have words underneath those buttons up at the top. This is an improvement that I would really like because personally to me I don't see much difference in documents and reports and having to sit and wait for the hover. I mean, it doesn't take very long, but it's nice just to be able to see that already. Just a second, I've got Treg saying that there's no sound, but it might just be him. I'm going to continue going on. Treg can jump on with, it looks like Kathy's on as well, so maybe, I don't know, maybe they can group up in their same computer. So the words underneath the top, we've got a few new buttons. This funds button is really just going to be available just for the program managers here at the state office level. They haven't really gotten into details on exactly what that is yet. Another new button at the top is the HGL and wetland compliance. There's going to be some later webinars that we'll be going through in the future for that. So look forward to that. Basically what it is, it's an HGL and wetland compliance tracker. So currently all the DCs or field staff are using an Excel spreadsheet to track that information. When determinations are done, how many are outstanding, so on and so forth. This tracker will allow us to be able to capture that here in Conservation Desktop, tie it to a client, and then track that. And the reason this was built was to help the National Office be able to report back to Congress, letting them know what has been completed. Keep going here. There's a few new practice schedule types. I'll go into that here in a second. But this search, I'm kind of just going through the lesson plan that I had sent out, that lesson plan 1 overview. We've got some advanced search features that have been built in to this version. So as you can see, there's multiple options. We've got practice schedule options. You can go in and say what case file has practice 102 in this service center and filter those out. So pretty cool features that they built in. They've also built in this recent search I don't know if it's going to show anything on mine. It will. So it'll show your 5 most recent searches that you've completed. So that's nice. If you keep searching for that same search, and that's going to apply the certain programs or practices, whatever you're using in your advanced search, that will stick as well. I'm going to open up a case file just real quick to kind of, this is where I've been doing all of my testing in the training environment for this this round. So I'm going to open it up just so we can kind of see some of these features here. Currently, we have Gwen, Amber, and Jerry are in Colorado getting trained on this 2.3 rollout, this information. So they're going to be coming back, and then we also have the desktop cadre is going to be getting trained next week on Conservation Desktop and CART through webinars. So, and that also includes me, and then we'll be pushing this out. The training, I'll send out I'll mention the dates of the trainings here when I get done, kind of showing some of the improvements or the updates here in a second. Sorry, I'm having just a little hiccup here. Let's see if my case file is loaded. I'm just going to refresh. I have been in on the training site. I've been here quite a bit this morning, so it might just need a jump start. As you can see, the table of contents is exactly the same from version 2.2 for those that did attend our 2.2 training. A few new little buttons or words over here. We got our soil map and inventory, which can be created. We kind of previewed a little bit of that. Before I jump into this fully, I want to show you a few of the buttons that changed over here. You can see we've got a center toolbar now. This is where our map contents comes in, where we were able to turn on or turn off our layers. That's going to come in through that button, which was previously located here, but kind of pushed over here to the left. So we've made this toolbar smaller, made it a little easier to see, changed the symbol to a map because it is the map tools, and then we have the map contents over here that looks like kind of a table of content bullet form. Nothing else has really changed. The button updated from the binocular glasses look to binoculars, just a little easier. Just a few little things, not major on that. I'm going to turn off my active PLUs once again. And my case PLUs, because that's really terrible looking. Okay, so those buttons haven't changed. They did add in a select tool over here. So instead of, if I'm adding in a planned land unit or a PLU, we used to have the select tool built in right here, where now it's up here and we can use that select for whichever. The same features, just that it's on the center toolbar instead of within the separate dialogues. We also have the pan button. That was nice. Before we just had to click and drag to kind of pan around. Now we actually have a specific pan button to be used. Let's see what else. What else we got here? I guess I could show you. No, I don't want to show you that. The HEL and wetland compliance tracker is what I was going to show, but I think for right now in the training environment they haven't quite built it out, so it's going to be much easier to just provide that training altogether when it comes in. Let me get out of my edit land units dialog and open up my table of contents here. In our conservation products, we now have, which I previewed in our 2.3 training, we previewed some of the types of products. We now have conservation plan map, 1155, 1156, soils map and report, and then a general ad hoc map. So that could just be a location map, or whatever you're wanting to show on your map will then show up there. I'm not going to walk through those modules because we're going to go into that detail when we get there at training, but those functionalities have been built and are ready to go. Let's see, I'm going to show you the soils layer. I'm going to turn off my case PLUs and active PLUs. And soils are down here at the bottom of the map contents. I'm going to turn that on. It comes in a light feature and light labeling. And as we open it up, you can kind of see what that is. But you can change it with the settings, with the gear, and make it. Traditionally in our world, we're probably going to want it to be the dark, but it could vary depending on what your field is looking like. Once you can set that, that's our soils layer. The soils map and reports will then clip it just like our typical report does for our soils map. There's not going to be any symbology changing with the soils layer, which may upset some, but that's where the National Office decided to go. And so that's going to be what our soils map is going to look like, is with just the single line with the label. I will say that it does look much better turning off everything else other than just the soils layer and producing that item, or even just providing the practice schedule PLU field layer. We can kind of play with those, obviously, in flexibility when we create the map. The nice thing with this, well, shoot, I shouldn't have clicked there. Or yes, I do. Well, so I'll hurry and create a soils map. The soils map will be available for 24 hours, and then that's as long as it'll stick there. The reason they made it only 24 hours is because it's something that can be created fairly easily and quickly, and then if it does change, then it will automatically be updated. So once I've completed, they're working on getting this. It needs to close once it's been completed, but they're working on that. We will see up at the. It didn't do it. Soils map and inventory. Sorry, everybody. Soils map. I'm going to select my land units just like how we typically have. Create a map layer already exists. Okay, so I've created soils map 2. Hit done. There's my soils map. I don't know where my soils map 2 went, but if I turn off my soils map there, you can see is my soils map put in there. It might be a little bit small for all of you, and I understand that. I'm sorry, but it does look a little bit better on my end. A little bit. We're on a big TV screen, so it still looks pretty small. But in producing the map, I'm going to go show you. The nice thing is it does pull in the layer, and then it puts the report with it. So we don't have to worry about going to the data mart or other resources to go and get that information. Obviously, we can go to the Web Soil Survey and grab more information if we'd like, but the information is already pulled through those reports and pulling that data. Let's see, if I thought hitting save preferences would be faster, but it looks like it's not. Probably because I haven't loaded saved preferences before in training. Hey, I Okay, I'm going to run through this real quick. Select land unit. Okay. We can set our scales to like 2,000 feet. We can make these, all of the maps can be created geospatially. I really think that'll be helpful when we give maps or give PDFs to clients in the field. I feel like that'll be very beneficial. See if we can zoom in just a little closer there. Okay. So there's our map. We can move it around. The big orange square is what is actually going to be printed on the map for the information or for the map content. So here's where what we can take in this information is we can take whatever layer we're wanting to use, and then we can produce the inventory and map unit report, soils inventory report, which I think is going to be really nice. And then the rest of this is basically just like the other conservation products area or products dialog. So hit report. I'll wait for that to process here for just a second, but yeah, the soils, I really think that'll be nice. Turning on and off those soils layers will be good. Let's see, another thing I can talk about while this processes. All easements can be ran from start to finish in Conservation Desktop 2.3, including the easement reconciliation. A lot of you probably don't touch that. That's going to be like myself and Jerry and maybe a few others that work with that tool. But basically what that is locking up those land units in the easement case files so that they will stay locked and kept in that case file so that we don't have anything going on that shouldn't be going on. Kara asked a question, will the soils report and map upload to DMS? And yes, it will. So you can upload it to DMS or you can print it from right there. But the button is live in that actions. Once it processes, I've forgotten how long it takes to process a map. All I can do now is cancel, which I'm not going to. I'm already into it so far. So easement reports, they're building in additional reporting as well. And we can now create, I'm not going to show this, but we can create a planned land unit through a buffer shape. Previous we couldn't. We can also import through a point and line practice, because now we'll be able to have point and line practices uploaded into Conservation Desktop. So that is a nice ability there. That's finally there. So there you can see kind of the labels. I didn't get labels on my PLU, but obviously we could do that. And then here's our brief description. Whoopsies. Scrolled off. And then here's our typical report that we get from ArcMap when we print that soils map. So there's that. Let's scroll back up here, and I'm going to get out of conservation products. I don't know if you saw, Kara, but there was that on the actions icon, it says upload to DMS, or you can upload it to draft files and combine it with other files and then upload it to DMS as well. So the import button, so in the map contents, which is in the center toolbar, map contents, there's the little plus. You can hit import layer, and then we can import a shapefile, GPX, or a GeoJSON file. So I'm not going to show that, but that can be used. I practiced this importing using one of Tate Walter's cover layers that he had already clipped out of ArcGIS. He had clipped it to make it, have the 3 phases for PJ removal, and then I imported it, and then I could import the practices according to what I wanted those practices, or what I wanted those shapes to be. So that works. The processing in Conservation Desktop is not nearly the power that ArcGIS has, so that's why we're going to continue to have ArcGIS to be able to do that processing of the shape files and the information, but then we'll be able to import it and then put it into an NPAD layer like a practice polygon, a practice point, practice line, or land unit layer, whatever it may be for that. So then obviously once we have those layers imported, then we can use that to be exported as well. So if I wanted to grab my practice schedule, which it's an active layer right now, and I select a field, I can right click and export selected. So then I can export this into a shape file, it downloads it, then you can download it, and it's in a zipped shape file. That's the same way that the imports come in, is through a zipped file as well. So there's that for importing and exporting. We're now able to manage CSP practice schedules. That includes the old CSP prior to Kate. It'd be like the CMT management ones. There's not many of those contracts left, but there are a few where we can now remove land units from there. Before we couldn't. There's a new type of assistance notes that they're building in. We can put the type as being contract or application, and the possibility is going to be endless as we continue to build this out. But then we can filter those notes according to what kind of type it's going to be. I want to show you a cool feature with the Find tool. This is consistent with the Find tool when trying to add a planned land unit, or just using the Find tool in general. So currently, actually I'll show you here. Currently in my preferences, I only have ARCO Service Center as the only service center that I have in my preferences. So in 2.2, I could then only search for addresses, the CLU layer. I could only search for those items that are within the ARCO Service Center area. So Custer and Butte would be my only 2 service centers that I could even select here. Now in 2.3, as I zoom out, I could look in the CLU layer for Custer or Blaine, or I could come up, let's see if we can get into like Montana somewhere. So there we've got Fremont and we've got some Montana. So I don't have any of the Montana or Wyoming permissions, but I can go there and look, and I can grab and use those CLU layers for my planned land unit. I know Dean Smith was working on one where he didn't have permissions in Idaho Falls, but it was he was servicing with that client who had ground over there. Long story short, he wasn't able to get it until I granted him permission to have Idaho Falls Service Center permission. Well, now you don't need that permission. You can use anything. If you had a customer that had land in Kentucky, you could use that CLU layer out in Kentucky. So I like that. That's, like I said, that's consistent with the addresses. It's consistent with finding or using PLUs over here. So map label changes. I don't remember, or I know that some of you noticed this. Let me go turn on my labels for this, my practice schedule PLU layer. And then I need to also change this type to a balloon. In 2.2, we could not change the location of the point on the label. within 2.3, we can drag that point to be wherever it is, wherever we want it to be, which is absolutely necessary to be able to identify some of these areas. That yellow is really driving me crazy. I guess it's my own fault I did it, right? But whatever. So there's the ability to move the targets. I believe that works as well for, let's go try it for the line call out. I actually haven't tried it with line call out. Yep, looks like we can move those as well. So same feature, you can move that point. And that's really it that I wanted to show. I just wanted to give a few updates if you are clicking around, playing with things. I know some people are working on planner certification and doing a few things in the training environment, which I think is a good idea. That way you're putting things somewhere and it doesn't necessarily have to stick. But this will help you get navigated a little bit. As far as trainings go, let me open up my calendar so I'm saying things right. So we're going to have trainings in Coeur d'Alene and Idaho Falls November 5th through the 7th. And then Moscow and Pocatello are going to be the 19th through 21st. And then Boise is going to be the 3rd through the 5th of December. And then Kimberly is going to be the 10th through the 12th of December. We're going to be sending out a bulletin shortly or soon, probably in the next week or so, explaining registration, giving locations, that kind of stuff. Information is not going to be particular about when things are going to start, but travel is definitely authorized to be used. We might end up only needing 2.5 days. I'm still working out the agenda, but look forward to that bulletin coming out. We're going to have everybody register through AgLearn, and then also work through your supervisor if you need any help with travel, or if you aren't able to make those dates if you're in that division. You can definitely go to another one. Just work with your supervisor through travel and authorization stuff with that. So I guess I will just kind of open it up for questions, comments, or help, or anything. You can either type it, or I will go ahead and unmute. If you want to unmute yourself on your microphone, you can do that as well. So, are there any questions out there? Are people trying to ask questions, or are there no questions? All right, if there's no questions or anything coming up, just shoot me a message if you have any questions or comments. Please let me know. I'm totally willing to help you out one-on-one if needed, or point you to a spot where we've got a lot of the resources kept. Once again, thanks for joining, and hopefully you have a good rest of your day and a good weekend this next weekend. Okay, thank you.